Hello again and welcome to Devotion to Writing, a channel devoted to helping you cultivate a daily writing practice and thereby transform your relationship to writing from block to flow and from scarcity to abundance. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe and watch to the end, because at the end of this video I am going to present this week's writing challenge. Okay. Now, why devotion? Why do I keep harping on this word, on this concept, this principle of devotion? Why do I continue to, in every video, talk about the importance of devoting yourself to writing or to creating whatever it is that you wish to create in your life? Because it isn't simply about writing. It could be your career. It could be a relationship. It could be anything. We are a creative power. This is what we are. And so how we direct our attention, our energy with devotion, how we do this equals what we see in our lives. It's very simple. Devotion is a powerful force, and our attention, where we direct it, attracts to us and creates with us, around us, that which we see and experience and have. Devotion, therefore, is refinement. And refinement is permanent. That is where we put our attention, and what we focus on refines us. It is not easy. I know it is not easy to get to the page every day. We have lots of responsibilities. We have many things pulling us in different directions all the time, from family to work to relationships, you name it. This devotion is a vow to show up for yourself. Writing, the practice of writing, requires commitment. It requires discipline, care, and your attention. These all go into devotion. Writing requires your time and your patience. And in order to have these, in order to dedicate yourself, you have to set aside time. This is where the devotion comes in. We're not just trying to get writing done at any time of, fit it in, shoehorn it into the day. We're actually creating sacred space around what we do. This could be 10 minutes where we sit at the page, where we don't allow any distractions, no interruptions, no texting, no emails, no screens. We just bring our attention to what is before us on the page, and we write. Devotion, writing, requires that we grow. And maybe this is what some people are afraid of, or maybe this is what they resist, that we cannot create, we cannot show up and write without ourselves being changed. It is inevitable. And so in giving ourselves, devoting ourselves, by demanding of yourself, you too, you will be changed. The practice, the devotion changes you, as does the work, the writing, the creating, the art, whatever it is you're committed to. This changes you. You change it. As you bring it forth, it creates you. Your creations, that is, your art, changes you the way that fire changes clay. It hardens it. It makes it unbreakable. In daily discipline, you, therefore, create yourself. And if you imagine writing that it should just happen, that it is, if you were a real writer, that you would be able to do it more easily, that you would publish, that you would get noticed, whatever these stories you have, I'm here to tell you that this is an illusion. An illusion. You mistake what it takes to write. You're mistaking what it takes to write. Writing isn't easy. It does require discipline. It does require effort. It requires all of you. So if you have this idea that it should be easy, that it should come easy, that you should get something easily from it, you need to set that aside and realize that writing is work. Like anything else, it requires something of you. And just because it feels difficult, that it is hard, that isn't proof that you aren't a writer. In fact, I would say it is proof of your success. Because if you're finding it hard, if you're getting to the page and you're finding that it is difficult to write, that means you're engaged. that you're engaged. You're not avoiding it anymore. You are at the page and you are attempting. You are attempting to write the stories, the poems that you need to. You are engaged in the process. And the people, those of us who are engaged in the process, are the ones who are experiencing the trials and the transformation and also the daily lifting that it takes in order to create. Yes, we have to lift ourselves. It's not easy to come to the page. Not every day are you going to be like, I'm so excited to write. It just isn't that way. The way you don't feel that way about, there are very few things perhaps that you feel that way about, if anything. So life's responsibilities are going to keep challenging you. They're going to wrap you up in them. They're going to try to get you away from your writing. Can you hold your vision and write? To be a writer means simply to be writing. So when the work itself and all of the unknowns, with all its uncertainties, with the tensions and the problems and doubts, with the self-criticism and judgment that comes, and all of this crashing against you, seemingly working against you, can you continue to show up and write? This is the devotion. It doesn't matter how I feel. It does not matter what is going on. It doesn't matter if I am feeling doubt, if I'm feeling discouraged. I am writing. I am coming to the page. Most people can't do this, and that's why they don't write. They sacrifice writing to the first and to the least obstacle. They didn't get a good night's sleep, not writing. They had to work late, not writing. They had to run the kids around, not writing. They had to make dinner, not writing. How many times do we say, I know I've said it many times, how many times do you say, I would write, but? This but keeps you trapped in wanting. It is an excuse. It keeps you trapped in wanting to write, in wanting to find more time, in wanting to find more money, in wanting to find the energy, in wanting to find inspiration, in wanting to find less responsibility in order to write. This but is what keeps you from writing. It keeps you trapped in simply wanting to write. And wanting is torture. It is a tortured place. Believe me, I know. I spent years wanting to write and not writing. Just wanting to do it. It is a terrible place to be. Fortunately, the key to freeing yourself from that suffering is devotion. Write every day, just 10 minutes. Schedule it. Make it a habit, like brushing your teeth is a habit, and build it into your life, not as some afterthought, but write because you care. And write as if it is already planned into your day, 8 o'clock to 8:10. Every morning, I write. Cultivate the habit of showing up and applying your attention, your care, your energy to writing, to living the writing life you dream of. Look, a writer writes. I've said that earlier in this video, and I've said it in other videos. A writer writes. It's not that a writer is published. It's not a writer is a bestseller. A writer writes. Writing is its own reward, and I wish I could describe this reward to you. I wish I could tell you that it is true, that it is there. Your devotion brings it, but no one could have convinced me of the gift of writing that devotion brings. No one could have told me and convinced me that it would be there. I had to experience that gift for myself, and fortunately, I had a teacher who told me to write, and he said, write every day. Write every day, Justin, for 3 months. And if you can't do that, and this is exactly what he said to me, almost verbatim, if you can't write every day, then give up writing, because it is a fantasy that you use to torture yourself. He told me, it's a fantasy. If you can't commit to writing, you don't really want it. It is a fantasy that you go to, that you think about, and you torture yourself. So write every day or stop writing. To me, it became very clear at that moment. Well, first of all, I was going to prove to him that I would write every day. So at first, it was really more of a, I'm going to show you attitude. But I did make a solemn vow And I promised myself that I would do this. I would write every day for 3 months. And because I knew that that is the life that I wanted. That is truly what I wanted in my life that was missing from my life. I had a family, I had 2 kids, I had a nice job, but what ate at me was that I wasn't writing and I wanted to write. So he said, it's not about your money, it's not about time, it's not about having fewer responsibilities. It's simply you committing to write. And so in my zealousness, I committed not just to write every day, I committed to write for an hour a day. I'm not saying you need to do this because how long you write each day isn't important. What's important is that you write. So 10 minutes, that's enough. If you want to write longer, you can. If you are able to and you have the time, do it. Fine. But 10 minutes is doable. We can find 10 minutes in our day. We have 10 minutes in our day. So how long you write isn't important, only that you write. My life began to change in just 1 week of writing every day. I felt for the first time a creative energy emerging in me that I had not felt. And after a month of writing, I experienced this energy as abundance, as a well of creativity that was constantly replenished, constantly being replenished. I would write for an hour, I'd pour myself out on the page, my ideas, my poems, my stories, and the next time I came to write, it was filled again. It could not be depleted. And I realized then that there is a power, a force that doesn't reside in us, but is us. And the only thing that could stop me from writing, from creating, was me shutting it down, was me not committing myself, was me not willing myself to be present at the page and writing. So at the end of 3 months, writing had become integrated into my life. It was a refined habit. Devotion had transformed me inside, and the outside world began transforming to accommodate my newfound habit, my new creativity, and the possibilities that were being generated from showing up daily. I've told this story of the events that followed my devotion, how these reshaped my life and built writing into my life, and how writing from that point on became a very tangible, lived experience in my life. The writing life that I always desired was now happening. I'll just say here that what happened to me is why I do devotion to writing. It's why I make these videos. It's why I teach workshops online and in person. It's why I do these retreats. I want to help you cultivate a daily writing practice so that you can feel the immense creativity, the abundance, and the joy that you are. You can't access this abundance without work, without commitment, without devotion. Writing, creating the life that you want requires you. It requires a lot of you. It requires your attention. The work that you do is the prayer that calls that life into being. The process of showing up and getting to work is the art. It is itself creative. Devotion helps you stay the course. Devotion is just, for me, it's like a groove that I walk in, that I travel in. I know what my day is like. I get up, I have my coffee, I do my meditation, I write. It is machinery. It works like a machine, and I stick to it. And some people will resist this because they don't feel like that they can be creative within that. You will find in your process what works best for you. But don't just write off the rigor because you think it won't allow you to be creative. I say that's likely resistance. You're likely saying that as it's a resistance to being creative at all. Oh, if I'm not flexible, I can't be creative. Try writing consistently. Try the rigor of it and see where this takes you before you write off rigor as being an adversary. The reward of devotion is a life of creative fulfillment. So this week, commit to writing every day. And I'll put this video in a playlist along with the daily shorts that I'll make this coming week that you can use to get you started each day. So you would watch this video and you would then watch the shorts each day. In order to do this, it'd be helpful if you subscribed, click subscribe, and that way you can get them. And if you come to it later in the week, just start this video whatever day you're on and start writing from here, from that day. This week's theme is writing as offering, a simple daily offering, not an offering of greatness, of genius, of anything polished, but offering the simple gift of your attention and making with what is inside of you and refining your gifts. You can do this. You can write. Make a vow to write every day. Write every day this week. Say, I'm going to write every day this week. Set an alarm. Set an alarm to write. Put it in your calendar and show up for yourself for just 10 minutes to start. And start refining. Start refining. Thanks for watching. I hope you write deeply. I hope you write beautifully this week. I know that if you do write, it will be beautiful, because beautiful is what you are. Blessings.